Greetings and blessings. Welcome again to the hotspot this Sunday. It's been an exciting weekend. If you do love Manchester United, you should be happy that we did win another game of football, regardless the manner in which it came. 3 points are 3 points in a marathon, which we do call a league. Welcome to the hotspot. My name is Webb, and it's always an honor to be here talking about this beloved club. Now, we've got a lot to talk about in this live. The show is going to be different because we do want to get into a debate or a conversation about our club and what our chances are, considering how we look, where we've come from, and where maybe we are headed. Do you think Manchester United can make it to the top four? Do you think Man United will finish among the top four in the English Premier League this season? Let me know what you think in the comments section. We are working on calls as well, so very soon, starting this week, next weekend, we should be able to take a live calls so that the conversation, the debate does not stop in comments. It does stop, actually. It does go on rather to into a conversation. So subscribe to the hotspot if you haven't, as we do build up to 6K subscribers. It's been a long journey, guys. Just a few months we've been here, and we are growing. Trust me, we are growing quite steadily. Well, of course, things have been a little disorganized by a few technical issues, but guys, relax. We have this together. We are putting this right, and certainly the hotspot will be as exciting as it gets. But next weekend, be ready for the live call-in show, because we've got to have conversations. The football is getting more exciting in the future for Manchester United. But guys, before we get into the debate about United and finishing top four, first of all, let me know when you comment where you're from. I need to know where you guys do follow me from, where you follow the Man United conversations from. But let's talk about other clubs as well, because there has been some exciting football today. If you love football, forget about United for a minute, because we are not in action today. But there was exciting football, especially in London at the bridge. The Stamford Bridge was interesting to follow what was going on there. The teams in blue were facing off in an exciting manner. And of course, the first comment came through from my brother Abbas Adams saying, seriously, we have to also not so good. We have to what? I didn't get it. Abbas, first read your comment again, please, and rephrase it. We have to what? Our opponents are also not good. I don't know what you meant, but I think it meant seriously we have to. Okay, I get it, Abbas. Seriously, we have to finish among the top four because our opponents are also not so good. Now, speaking of not so good, clearly Manchester City is not so good. If there is one team that is not so good, I think it is Manchester City, because Manchester City have struggled against Chelsea. Was it because they were not so good, or was it because Chelsea actually was so good? I think this was one of the most thrilling games of the season. The result does not, just puts it clear. The result just puts it clear. 4-all draw between Chelsea and Man City. An exciting, interesting emotions. Chelsea going up, Man City goes up. Chelsea comes from behind, takes the lead. Man City comes back. It was, up and down, up and down. It was an interesting game of football, that. And of course, the gods of football yet again writing another interesting story as a former Pep Guardiola boy, former Manchester City boy, comes in to score that penalty. That is Parker. He did score the penalty that made it 4-all in the last minutes of the game. What an exciting game of football. And again, we thank the gods of football for giving us just another story to savor. But that's the table, and that's how it's standing. That is the top 8 in the Premier League, and that's how it looks right now. Now, this is, for me, promising. The table and the performances I've seen from clubs, like Abbas said there, I think there is a chance for Manchester United to finish among the top four, and you can give me your opinion. Abbas thinks we do have to finish among the top four, however bad we are. And I think this should give us an idea of how not so badly off we are. Whereas United fans do have high expectations of the manager and the team, considering where we finished last season. But of course, the fact that our performances have been way below par this season, I think you are right to think that United are so bad. But if you look at the table, and that's where I need to draw your focus and attention. Look at the table, the top 8, and that's where I'll focus. Manchester City are topping after this game against the draw, the 4-all draw against Chelsea. So they are topping with 28 points. Liverpool are second. Liverpool also won comfortably earlier on today. And it was another, important game for Liverpool, because, again, they haven't been, so exciting, because remember, they actually struggled, in the game against Luton. They drew 1-0 against Luton, but they beat Brentford by 3 goals to nothing. And then, of course, you look at the other team, of course, that is ahead of us, in third place. That's Arsenal. They have got 12 goals as games as well played. They have got 27 points, same level on points with Liverpool, just a point shy of the table topping Man City. Spurs have got 26 points. That's 2 points shy of the top. They have played 12 games as well. So all teams have played 12 games. Aston Villa have played 12 as well. They have got 25 points to their credit. Man United is sixth. We've got 21 points. Now we are just 5 points off the top 4. But this is our these are our stats. We have not drawn a single game. We have lost 5 and won 7. This reminds me of the famous debate. I remember back then when Jose Mourinho was still in the Premier League, coaching at Chelsea. I think Arsene Wenger at Arsenal. Mourinho was always attacked for losing some games, and I love the way he would come back and respond, because Mourinho had not actually, it had never occurred to me that one win in football and a loss. Okay, one win out of 2 games in football is better than one win is better than 2 draws. Yes, I think that's how I want to put it. One win out of 2 games is better than 2 draws. Simple. But you see, in terms of fans, if you draw, you're feeling like it's square. But if you draw with a team, especially in a league, you've got 1 point. So two draws is 2 points. Yet one win is 3 points. A loss is no points. So Man United is showing me that now, and this is my club showing me this, that we've lost 5 games, drawn none, but we are 6th because we've won 7 out of the 12 we've played. But there are teams who have lost fewer games, but they are below us. For example, Newcastle United have lost 4 games. They have drawn twice. They have won 6. They are below us. We're a point ahead of them in the same number of games we've played. We've got teams like Brighton who have drawn. They have lost 3. They have drawn 4, and they have won 5. We are still ahead of them. So it shows you that in the league, things change. Things can change. A league is a marathon that the permutations are interesting and they can change at any time. For me, it's a good thing. We are not actually as badly off in terms of chasing positions on the pile. Remember, we are just 12 games into the season. We are talking of a long season ahead. There is a lot of football to play. So for me, I don't think I'm worried, despite us not playing good. I think I'm happy actually, because there are some areas that you clearly see that we are improving. There are areas you see that Man United is improving. I'm seeing another comment here again from Abbas Adams. United will be at our best form in January. This is Abbas from Kasanga, Tiwachiso district. That's my brother. Abbas, good to see you there, of course. So for me, I think first of all, we need to first appreciate the fact that we are not so badly off. In terms of where we are on the pile, we are not so badly off. 12 games into the season. That's one. Now, after appreciating that, from where we are now, are we looking like we are going to go up, or are we going to go down again? Or are we static? Are we progressing? Are we regressing? Or are we stagnant? Are we static? I think if we are to judge by the past games we've played, even the games we've lost, even those we've scraped a victory, I actually think we are improving. I actually think Manchester United is improving, in my view. I think we are, in terms of how we play, in terms of how we apply ourselves, I feel like there is a lot of improvement in this team. In terms of how we apply ourselves, in terms of how we build up play, there are a lot of things that you feel we are working on. Even in games we are losing, the patterns are beginning to look like they are there. I think Ten Hag, and like we've been talking about it for the longest time, he has been struggling because of injuries, and these injuries certainly take away a lot in terms of what you're building. If you're trying to get tempo and pace in your team, if players are going to change and key players are going to pull out, obviously it's going to affect you. But I feel like even the players who are fit, are also beginning to improve slowly but surely. So for me, if the pressure eases and we stop playing, pressure football where we're just playing to as if uh, panic football, survival football. Actually, that's the word I was looking for. Survival football. If we stop playing survival football, because now I feel like we are out of that danger. A few weeks ago, Ten Hag, after the loss to Man City, then Newcastle and everything, we looked so bad, and the pressure was so much on the manager and the players, understandably. But I feel now that the cost is a bit clear, the calm has been restored, and players can actually play football calmly. And Eric Ten Hag can make calm decisions, and no one is going to put him under a lot of pressure, at least not for now, in my view. I also don't think we are going to see an obliteration happening to United anytime soon. So even that gives him a bit of confidence. So for me, I think we can only improve, and Ten Hag as well spoke about it in his post-match press conference after that game against Luton, that we are improving slowly but surely, but also the teams, our opponents, like Abbas said, are not so much ahead of us. Even Man City, who are topping the pile, I've said it before that this, for me, is the worst Manchester City I've seen under Pep Guardiola. Actually, I don't think this Man City deserves to win the Premier League title based on what we've seen compared to what we've seen before. Kaluya Paul saying, "Hi brother, I'm Kaluya Paul from Uganda, Kampala. I am somehow happy that our team is doing well." Yes, that's what he says. See, one of the signs of a team doing well in a marathon like a league is being able to scrap up wins even when you're terrible. Now, Man United has been terrible but winning. Even when we've played the worst football, we've been winning. For me, that's important. It's a sign of character. And at least if you don't have the football in your feet, show the character. We've shown the character quite a number of times this season in terms of how we fight coming from behind, in terms of our endurance, in terms of the spirit of players, individuals, and everyone. But also the supporters, I think, have shown character by continuing to go out there and support these boys, even when we had every reason to stop going to watch these games at Old Trafford. So for me, I feel like we scored in that regard. If it was a test needed to test our resolve, I feel like we passed this one in flying colors. That's what I think. So that's one. The other thing that I feel is promising for us is the fact that we started badly early in the season, because when you start early, it's a good thing, because yes, you can afford to lose games now. Next year, we won't afford to lose any games easy, because then now we are getting to the money end of the league. Here, teams are new signings. You see Chelsea is beginning to pick up, yet it was the laughing and beating stock of everyone earlier on. So my feeling is that the improvements are going to come at the right time when it matters. And for me, that's a good thing, that we are growing into the season. Certain teams might start well, but fall off. And they will lose games. They will start getting injured players. For us, we've got our injuries early, and we've learned as if how to cope with these injuries, which is a good thing. By the time they attack these clubs, because they will eventually, because suddenly the more games you play in the season, especially in the Premier League, the more prone your players are to injuries, because there is too much football in England. For us, luckily, our players are getting injured, and some of them will be back early, and maybe, but also even if they don't come, we've got the time to manage without them. We've got the time to manage the situation without these would-be senior players or big players. So for me, it's a good thing, whichever way you look at it, that it's better you start poorly and get better early into the season. It's not waste, too late. Like I say, it's only 12 games into the season. So at the end of the season, we can only improve. So for me, that's why I think we are actually still title contenders. And you can call me silly. I actually don't think we are just top 4 contenders. I think United are serious title contenders. Yes, we are serious title contenders, because the Man City I've seen is beatable. Man City will be beaten in the second round of the league. They will be beaten. I won't say by who, maybe not United, but they will be beaten. Arsenal, I feel like Arsenal is stagnant for me. I feel like they are stagnant. I don't think Arsenal has improved from what they were last season. If anything, they could have regressed a little. Or at the very least, they are stagnant. I don't feel like Arsenal has made that leap from where they were almost winning the title to now actually they should be winning the title. That's why they're not even topping the pile. I feel like Arsenal has been If their bar, if it's a bar, I think it's been either growing, not it's been there. It's been a straight bar largely, really. There is no, I don't see improvement. In fact, I want to feel like Arsenal's bar is a little going down a bit, or it's fluctuating from between up and down and the same level. It's there. Arsenal's bar is there. I don't. They are not clear. For Man City, it's going down clearly. Man City, they are struggling to win games. They are winning easily. I feel like, and I've seen this. We would see this even from their business in the transfer window. But it was also expected. Give it to them because they are still topping the pile. It's difficult to win the treble, and this next season you're leading. Though Man U did it, because Man U, I think, we won the treble in '99 and we won the Premier League the following season. So it's difficult though. But I think Man City. That said, whereas they have got some individually talented players, I feel like this entire Man City squad is not really as good as some we've seen of the same club. But you can challenge me on that. So think about Spurs. Spurs are beginning to lose games. They are now going where they belong. Of course, their purple patch had to come to an end eventually. This is the Premier League. You don't come as a new coach from where? From Scotland, for Postecoglou, and you think you're going to win games and win unbeaten and win the Premier League title in your first season. It doesn't happen like that. At least not in the Premier League. So they are again going where we expected them to go. Spurs are beginning to lose games, so those ones can be beaten, can come out. So for me, I feel like whereas all other clubs are not unsure of where they are, United is improving slowly but surely. So for me, that's a positive I see from our club, and that's where I get the confidence that it is very likely that actually Manchester United can finish among the top four. In fact, I still think Man United are title contenders. That's my honest opinion. You can let me know what you think. Of course, go on and drop your comment there and let me know your take. Now, speaking of course, away from that, just to give you some news as we continue with this conversation, Rasmus Højlund's injury, we are yet to get a clear update on how long he's going to be out, but what we know is that he got a foot injury that saw him off. Of course, same with Christian Eriksen, his elder, in that game that we won. And there's doubt whether they will be available for Denmark. They surely won't be. We should be good for us. But the worry now, what would stop us from challenging, competing for top four would be if Højlund's injury is long, because we might cope and struggle without Casemiro, Luke Shaw, and what have you. Without Rasmus Højlund, now never mind him not scoring goals yet, because I think he will score the goals. And I've been debating for a long time with my colleagues about the issues why Rasmus Højlund is not scoring goals in the Premier League. And of course, some of my colleagues were trying to label him a flop in the making, and I would debunk this in the strongest possible terms. I don't think Rasmus Højlund can be or will be a flop at Man United. It cannot happen. He has proven, even when he doesn't score, his movements, his everything, everything he does shows you a good footballer who is destined to shine. The only reason he might flop is if people around him fail to find ways of feeding him, which for me, I would blame on the manager, because I still think it is so easy, given his style as a player, it's so easy for players to find Rasmus Højlund. It's just that the manager perhaps is not getting them to train to do that. That's what I think. I don't think Ten Hag has intentionally trained his players to feed Rasmus Højlund. I'll give you an example. When Robin van Persie joined Manchester United from Arsenal, Wayne Rooney was still there, and Rooney was still hot. He felt probably he was still going to score goals. I think he had scored about 15 or 16 goals maybe the previous season, and he was still good because he even went on to stay there until so many years after Sir Alex Ferguson left. But when Rooney joined United, one of the first things Sir Alex Ferguson did was to tell all players, including Wayne Rooney, that the new sheriff in town is Robin van Persie, that all players had to play for Robin van Persie. Look out for Robin van Persie, give him the ball, he's going to win us the league. Even Rooney knew it, whereas Rooney was the striker was our goal scorer for the longest time, since 2004 when he joined from Everton. He was the guy scoring goals for United, he was the main man. When Robin van Persie came in, Sir Alex Ferguson had to make it clear to Wayne Rooney that you're no longer the target man. This is the target man, and even you are expected to find him, give him the balls to score goals. That is what I expected Erik ten Hag to do when we brought in Rasmus Højlund. Sit in a meeting Tell all your players that all you've got to do now, we've got a new boss, a new poacher, a goal poacher in town. We've signed him for 72 million quid. He's fit. And yes, Marcus Rashford did well last season. We've got Højlund now. He's the man to feed. Everyone should be looking out for Højlund. Play looking for Højlund to score the goals. The way Man City play for Erling Haaland when they signed him. Before Erling Haaland, Man City was scoring goals from all corners. When Haaland came, you can clearly see that they are playing to find Haaland, because that is what you do when you've got a world-class striker. I feel that, and you see, it has worked when United have done it in the Champions League. We've scored goals. That is why Rasmus Højlund has scored 5 goals. In the Premier League, they don't do it. Why? That's what we should be interrogating. It is either the players just refuse to do the things the manager tells them to do. If he does tell them to look for Højlund, which I don't think he does, because in his press conferences, he still seems to suggest that Marcus Rashford and all these other players scoring goals, Victor Lindelof, is what we're supposed to do. You have Højlund, but you're bragging about goals coming from 13 players, because the last goal scored was by Victor Lindelof. Before that, we had Harry Maguire saving us, and then Scott McTominay with a brace. So think about it, and you feel as if clearly, but even when you listen to Ten Hag, you can clearly see that Ten Hag is not direct on how we want to support Højlund. Are we intentionally playing to feed Højlund to score goals, or do we still want Højlund to score but also so many goals from other people? Is it the strategy we are bringing? So for me, that's the little confusion I see. But going back to the issue of Højlund and his injury, if he's out for a while, because tomorrow we'll know, they'll give us a final confirmation of the situation with his injury. But if he's out for a while, then think about it. Aren't we even more exposed? I feel like we feel comfortable as fans when Højlund is on the pitch. And that's why whenever he's been substituted, fans have booed. Because everything he does, he moves right, his energy, his involvement, his hunger, everything is right. Now, without him at this point in time, aren't we going to run cold? Kaluya Paul says, as we Manchester United, how many players are sick now? Let me even just try to remember them off head. I don't have the exact number off head, but let me list them for you. Tyrell Malacia is injured. Luke Shaw is injured. Casemiro is injured. Rasmus Højlund is injured. Christian Eriksen is injured. Those are 5 so far. Who else? You can remind me, guys. I've given you 5 so far, because those are the easy ones to get off head, because maybe they are the more important ones. But those are 5 so far. Kaluya Paul, I think I've attempted to answer your question. How many United players are injured? I've counted 5. My memory is letting me down on others, and I know there are more. For a fact, I know there are more, but 5 so far are injured. Kobe Maino returned. Of course, he's not injured, but he's not 100% fit, I think, to start for Erik ten Hag. Maybe after the international break he could. So he's not injured. Don't count him among the injured ones. Johnny Evans, I think, as well. Yes, Evans is injured. So, goodness, let me even not dwell on the injuries. But let me focus on the more painful one. So if Højlund is out, do you see Marcus Rashford coming back in the number 9? And now, let's say, worst case scenario, let's say Højlund is out for 2 months, God forbid. Let's say we're not going to have Højlund for about 6 games. You remember how we struggled when Casemiro got injured last season? Imagine Casemiro is out now for a long time, by the way. Lisandro Martinez, I almost forgot. He's the 7th. Yes, Kaluya Paul. Lisandro Martinez is the other one. So imagine you don't have Rasmus Højlund. With the injuries we have, put away Rasmus Højlund. So how do we manage? Who scores the goals? Will the other players that Ten Hag was saying they all score goals, will they really give us the goals? Will they even have the confidence to attack games and play confidently and hope for victories? Because I think players, since we brought Rasmus Højlund, all players draw a lot of confidence off him. He has lifted the spirit and the energy. There is belief in these players because there is a top striker, a big, huge guy at the top who knows what he's doing. So what exactly do you think will happen if Højlund is out for some time? Are we going to go back to Marcus Rashford playing a false 9 where he doesn't want to play clearly? Are we going to see Anthony Martial coming in and starting as a striker? He has had some minutes. What has he done? what will happen? So you see how still we've got a long way to go. It's so difficult to be a Man United manager. It's so difficult to be Eric Ten Hag. So for me, that's what I'm thinking, and I'm waiting to see the news because I know tomorrow they will tell us exactly how long he will be out. After 24 hours, they say, perhaps even before close of business today, we will know. But it's it's an interesting. Okay, interesting maybe is not the right word. It's a tricky situation. It's a tricky situation Manchester United is in right now. But according to the boss, and I think even me, really, we seem to be heading in the right direction. If these injuries are out, people underestimate the damage injuries have on its squad. But I think we've coped well. Think about a team like Arsenal, even if it's Man City, they struggled with only Rodri out. If they have the injuries United has had, Casemiro, so you have no Rodri, you can equate our Rodri is Casemiro. So if Man City has no Rodri, they have no Bernardo Silva, and okay, not Bernardo Silva. They have no Rodri. They have no, who is their left back? Okay, let's say Kyle Walker. They have no Kyle Walker. Already they have no Kevin De Bruyne, and they have no Erling Haaland. He's also sick. Have no Kyle Walker. You have no one of their key centre backs, maybe Akanji. I mean, I think this Man City would be beaten by even Luton at home. Think about it. By the way, if you try to compare what United has done and achieved with the injuries we've had, you can sit back and actually give a lot of credit to Eric Ten Hag. How they have been able to do it, pull the same players, important players out of a team like Man City. Go to Arsenal. Arsenal, what Ten Hag, rather, Arteta has done maybe is, I feel like Arsenal's play is not so much based on individuals. I feel like their team, it's a team effort mostly because I don't think Arsenal has any standout performers, players from the rest. I think it's more of a team effort. So maybe Arsenal can cope with the injuries we have. Pull out their captain, Odegaard, pull out the new signing, Declan Rice, pull out defender. They don't have, Saliba, let's say. Then pull out who else? Ben White. I think Arsenal will still play. They will still play close to what they are. They won't struggle as much as Man City would with the players I mentioned, or as we are struggling now. But give it to Eric Ten Hag, guys. I think it's not easy to play and win games. In fact, he could actually be manager of the month. Yet we are bashing him every day for certain below average performances or poor displays. So you think about it and say, oh, maybe it's not so bad. But when will it come right? When will it come right? When players are back. But when will that happen? We can't be sure. So it's a whole difficult situation United is in. But this is where we are. Again, away from that, it's been a difficult week that ended in a touchline ban for the manager. So, yeah, we won't have Eric Ten Hag for a game after the international break. So he picked up a third yellow card this time during our 1-0 win over Luton at Old Trafford. So he had been given cautions in games against Tottenham and Arsenal, the big games. I mean, really. And you understand it, really. You would understand. Eric Ten Hag has tried to be calm and, collected. But, I mean, all managers are losing it now, more so because of referee decisions. I think the issue of officiation in football, globally maybe, but mostly in the Premier League, is becoming a nightmare. And these people, professional games management, should come out and do something. There is something that needs to be done because the game is being put in disrepute. You can't say in 2023, when you're trying to strive for accuracy, for perfection, which for me can never happen in football. It can never happen in sport. It is wrong. All sports that have tried to push for perfection have actually ended up nearly dying. Sport cannot be perfect. I keep telling people that sport, and let me even use football in this case, football is the template of life. Sport is the template of life. It teaches you everything about life. And we know that life cannot be perfect. You can't live a perfect life. So this introduction of VAR and all this technology and what, for me, I feel you're striving to achieve perfection because the money involved in football, but you're actually killing the game. You're killing the passion for the game. The very things that define the game, you're killing them. The more you strive, because if you want to get perfection, you need to be consistent. Now, even technology is not consistent. VAR has failed to be consistent. And managers are beginning to express themselves, yet they are being fined for expressing themselves. Mikel Arteta could have been fined, Pochettino. All managers have been complaining about decisions, by the way, by VAR and what have you. So no one will say that VAR favors Man U or Liverpool or any team. It doesn't favor anyone. It's a mess. It's a disaster. They'll even come and admit themselves that they were wrong, but can't change a decision. So it's oxymoron. If you're trying to achieve perfection, and you realize that your referees made a mistake after the game, then reverse the result, because you've admitted that Arsenal's, I think it was the Arsenal Newcastle game, that something should have been a penalty or whatever. If you've admitted, if you've checked and you feel that a decision your referee made was wrong, because you're trying to achieve perfection, why don't you then add a rule where you can revert the result and say that goal should have stood, so it ended 1-1, and give them their points? You can't do it because it's illogical then. Yeah. So why then are you trying to achieve perfection partially? For me, that's the confusion, and that's why I've never been a fan of this VAR and goal line technology. Wagwan, never in my life. I will never be. But that's where the game is. That's where technology has taken us. But it's causing confusion. Every time fans are attacking, some will say VAR, Man U is favored by VAR. The next day, the Man U boss is being banned and fined for contesting a VAR decision. The other day, it's punishing Liverpool. The other day, it looks like it's favoring Liverpool. Then next day, it's Man City. The other day, it's Chelsea. It's a whole mess. It's a whole mess. So why do we need it? I feel like, to be honest, and you can challenge me, guys, I feel like football became worse with VAR. Football became worse with this advanced technology. First of all, it's confusing even to the former greatest footballers themselves. It's confusing. They also don't know how it works. The rules are also confusing when it comes to offside rules and penalties. Confusion left, right, and center. There is no consistency whatsoever. So if you seek to achieve the thing about football and why you want it to be as natural as it can, it's because there are so many moments in football. There are so many scenarios you cannot cater for. So if you bring technology to achieve perfection, are you going to think about every possible scenario in a game of football? There are so many scenarios in football that you cannot even fathom. You cannot fathom. The right thing is to just say, you know what? Let the man at the center and his officials run the game. Yes, will they make mistakes sometimes? Yes, because players make mistakes. Managers make mistakes. Supporters make mistakes. Why do you think referees should be perfect? They will also make errors. But you do not want technology to support them. You don't want to support them with technology because it takes away the naturalness of the game. And for me, that's why I feel bad about this whole technology situation. And of course, where it's leading us, it is getting managers out, out with wrong emotions, mixed emotions about it. And for me, it's not building the game. I'll be surprised if VAR is still, if it continues like this, I will be surprised if VAR is still in the Premier League next season. I will be surprised if it continues like this, unless there are new adjustments and introductions and what. But it won't be in the Premier League. Knowing how proud the Premier League is, they see it that it's not working. I'll tell you, they will banish it. But anyhow, let me know what you think. But I do remind you to subscribe, fam. Have you subscribed? Have you subscribed? I hope you have. Anyhow, so yeah, I don't think this VR is good, but this is why we are. Anyway, so Eric Ten Hag will not be on the touchline for our next game because of that ban. I was telling you about it before I started ranting. I was carried away by this whole VAR emotion. So you can imagine if I'm emotional like this about it, what of the managers? So yeah, meanwhile, what frustrated him was not a goal even. It was a throw-in decision being overturned in the favor of the Hatters, that is Luton, during the second half. So it became pretty intense, really. And it was bad, really. It was an ugly scene, but you could see clearly that it was a manager being frustrated of decisions going against him, both technology and non-technology. So you'd get it. So that's where we are anyway. That's where we are. Manchester United is lying sixth on the pile. We are not far off the pace in terms of top four, so we can still get it. So there's another one here for Manchester United. That was from this was from yesterday. Marcus Rashford will become the youngest player to reach 250 Premier League games for the Reds against Luton. So Rashford being the youngest player to reach 250 Premier League appearances for Man U. Rashford. Let me not talk about Rashford because he wasn't part of the plan. He wasn't part of the plan today. The conversation was not supposed to involve Rashford. Let's leave him a bit. We've beaten him so much. I think he's been through a lot. He's through a lot already with the manager, with the fans, with fellow players, with Højlund. I would imagine everyone has got issues with him. But let's give him a chance. He's an important player for United. Let's leave him. I won't talk about his 250 games and his record and what have you. So let me know, fam, what you think. Do you think United will be in the top four? This is my prediction, and I'm going to say it here, and you hold me accountable at the end of the season. I'm going to give you a bold prediction for this season for Manchester United and where I think we will finish. I think Manchester United this season, is going to finish better than last season. The worst will be third. The worst place Man United will finish this season in the Premier League will be third. That's my prediction. Let me know what you think. The worst Manchester United will finish this season is third. Someone is laughing at me somewhere. What I've said. Ye people of little faith, you don't trust your club at all? Really? Yeah, think about it. Look at all the teams, and I've broken it down for you. All the teams above us are beatable. None of them is so far ahead of us. So, and our players are going to come back, and they'll be better when they come back, trust me. We'll beat them. So, yeah, third is the worst. At the very best, we can actually win this title. I've got to be, I think, winding up here. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. It's been an awesome about 30 minutes of course, Man United talk. Abbas Adams, thank you for coming through with your comments. I feel we should be able to finish among the top four as well. Kaluya Paul, thank you as well for coming through. And of course, everyone else who has been on, not commented, it's all right. Next time, I think for now, I will leave it at this. I don't want to keep you for so long. Tomorrow is a Monday, and you've got to be up early to go and attack the week. Go and attack it. And of course, enjoy the international break as well, as Manchester United strives to be among the top four. Of course, first, we should hope that our players return, if that is even going to happen. But for me, there's nothing to be worried about. For now, that's it. Thank you so much for being a part of the Hotspot Live Man United Talk. I'll catch you again tomorrow, fam. Bye-bye.